Hi, everyone. I'm Barbara Shore, a veterinarian and interspecies intuitive communicator. And we are here with our Human Animal Spiritual Network group, ready to speak about what the animals have taught me about death and dying. So, who would like to go first? How about Lachelle?
Okay. I'm Lachelle Easton. I'm also a veterinarian and intuitive interspecies communicator, aka an animal communicator. And I've had many conversations with animals as they're getting ready to move on from this world. And I would say that the one constant thing that they have shared with me as they're kind of going through this process of winding down their life is well, I had one animal who put it best, and now that I think about it, many animals have said basically the same thing, but I really liked the way that this one dog put it to me. And he said, "There is no perfect path." And what he meant by that was the owner was going through all these iterations like, should I give him fluid? Should I give him this drug? Should I take him into the vet at this time? Should I do that? The owner was way up here in their head going through all these, possible paths and what's the right thing to do. And I think that sometimes as humans, we get this idea that we're like in this video game and there's a perfect way to play the video game that comes out the most perfect of all the options. And that we're always trying to find that perfect way. And this dog was like, there is no perfect path. And furthermore, what this dog wanted was for the owner to just be present. So rather than being up here and wondering, am I doing this right? Are you spending so much time up here that you're missing just being present with an animal as it's dying or as it's preparing to move on? So that's what animals have taught me, is that there is no perfect path. Just be present.
It's beautiful. Thank you, Lachelle. So, Jeff, would you like to start?
Sure. I'm Jeff Feynman, also a veterinarian, not an animal communicator, so I've never spoken with animals, but what my own recent experience with my dog passing, because I've unfortunately had hundreds or thousands of these experiences with animals getting old and passing over the past 39 years. But what Archie taught me, it's pretty much exactly what Lachelle said, that the number one thing is to be present with him. And I actually just had a conversation with another pet parent who's is got a terminal diagnosis, and just that realization in and of itself really helped transform her relationship with the present moment. The dog was saying, live in the present moment and not worry about the path that you take, because as Michelle said, there is no perfect path, or as Christina Schembra says, there is no one right way. What Archie said to me is, whatever you do is the right thing. Whatever, just be with me, just love me. Whatever you choose to do is the best for all of us. So that's really all I've got to say today.
Thank you, Jeff. And you say you don't communicate with animals, huh?
Not directly.
So, how about Elena? Would you like to speak?
Sure. My animals have taught me an indescribable amount about death and dying. My first dog was truly my soulmate. And I was just beginning through him, I came to understand about his consciousness and communicating with him. certainly with the help of wonderful intuitive communicators. And he had many health crises, but he grew to be 15. And of course, I was devastated, but I never left his side for, I think, 2 days before I knew I was going to send him away. I held him as nonstop as I could. And shortly before his death, the house was, hummingbirds came to the door and hovered on the door. A frog stayed on the stoop. 4-leaf clovers appeared around my dog when he was dying. And then the moment came when he was passing, and he was in my arms, and I felt his energy spiral out of his body, and I was spiraling with him. I really thought that I was going with him. And it's an experience I will never forget. I felt the energy, I felt the vibration. And then I felt, oh, I've lost this connection. And of course I didn't. And with the great help of Donna and other communicators, the connection became even more intense. There were incredible messages that were inexplicable, describing where I was when I scattered his ashes in the ocean, where I went, where I sat on the beach, not on the beach, but on a little hill. And the detail was incredible. Where I went after to a restaurant where there was a smoky fire. There's no way an animal communicator could have known this. No way. And this continued, and I have a deeper, more profound connection with him today than ever before. I feel him, I talk to him every day. His presence is my center. And that applies also to the cat he caused me to get because he loved cats, who has appeared to me after his passing. There's a picture on Donna's website of a very recognizable image of his face on the bathroom floor that appeared where his litter box was after he passed. I say this, and I know everybody's going to say I'm crazy, but it never appeared before, and it has not appeared since. But there's this photo that is really precisely like his image. And I just know it's true. I know he appeared to me. And there were other instances. I think that's the most of what I can say. It's miraculous and it's wonderful. And they have taught me that consciousness and the spirit and energy endures after death. And that's the greatest gift that the animals give us.
Wow, quite a story. Thank you, Elena. And Donna, would you like to speak?
Surely. Thank you. My name is Donna Lozito. I am an animal communicator and a classical homeopath. And I can attest to Elena's story, conversations with both her dog and cat. But one of the things that sticks out for me, and I see this occur with humanity. I think this is our human condition, whereby when an animal chooses to leave, somehow we make it our fault. I should have this, and I should have that, and how come I didn't just ride him that day, and why didn't I take him to the vet sooner? And so, this, of course, is for the animals, it's kind of like a lot of babble that doesn't really mean anything, but for us, it's what we do. And so one of the things that settled it for me, and it took me a really long time to really have this integrate into my world, was that my horse, when he passed, because I went through the same gyrations. It's, oh my God, I should have rode him. Oh my God, I didn't that day. And oh, I should have. And he said to me, when it comes time for us to leave, whether you're an animal or a person or a rock or a tree, we create the situations to make it happen. And I just thought, when he said that to me, I was, are you kidding? It's like, how could that, because I couldn't even I couldn't even imagine, you know, of course it had to be all my fault that I didn't take him here. And if I would have put this shoe on, it would have, and analyzing it over time after really taking that statement in, I started to see that his timing was not only divine in the journey of my life, but it was just orchestrated in a way that I move on to the next dimension into where I am in my soul growth. And he had taken me just so far, and the rest, you know, that was as far as he was to take me in his body. And then the rest was going to be some spiritual, but the point, getting back to the point, is that, you know, sometimes animals die young, and sometimes they die old, and sometimes they die in an accident, and it's orchestrated in every death or every ending has a specific purpose to it. If we really, you know, I think it's difficult to really take that in when you're grieving, and really take that in when you're in the moment. But when time passes and you start to heal a little bit, to really listen to that, what comes from the animal at the time of death, I think is just so important for the continuing journey. So thanks.
Oh, that's really sweet. Thank you. And true. Thank you. So, Ange, would you like to speak?
Yes, I am a veterinarian and focus mainly on end of life. So this is a hot topic for me. I also am practicing towards becoming an animal communicator. So my message or theme ties well into Donna's. It's about divine orchestration. So I have so many stories to share, but I focused on one for this. And it involves a dog named Zizi. So the owner, or kahu, which is the Hawaiian term to more reflect our relationship with an animal, wanted to have her life ended by euthanasia. So I was called to her house, and for whatever reason, I ended up like really reflecting on time and how it works. I left town early, I got all my chores done early, and I sat in my car wondering why I had done all of this early, and then just followed my intuition and went to her home early. And I was able to meet her, and her great granddaughter was there, and we had a conversation, and Zizi wasn't ready yet. So Zizi was in another room, and she was just in the bedroom, just staring into potentially the spirit world. So we gave her some time, and we decided to let her go. I always follow the animals' cues, and they know what's happening, and they come when they want to, and they also die where they want to. So she eventually came into the room, and Zizi was very much a dog who was on her time. So meaning she wanted her things a certain way, and if she didn't have them that way, she would bite. And she was a sassy lady. Anyway, she came to the room willing, and her death was quite magically gentle, knowing Zizi's personality was quite spiky. She left beautifully. Everything was orchestrated, and the timing worked out wonderfully, and I had enough time to really connect to the family before it happened. And as I was taking her body, because I will send their remains to be cremated, so as I was taking her to the vehicle, all of a sudden we looked up, and there was a giant buck that was walking across the road in the city from one place to another across the road. So the timing had to be executed perfectly for this all to happen. And the kahu looked over at the buck and was like, oh, this is what happened when my father died. A buck came. And since then, a buck has been one of her spirit guides. So for all of this to work out, we have to rely on the fact that they have a time of death. They execute it when it is their time. So often we work with people and they think, was it too early? Was it too late? It's always their time. The time that it happened is their time. And we do get feedback from Mother Nature that responds to that. And as Donna was saying, everything is executed perfectly for the highest good of all beings. And I just think that's beautiful. And there's so much trust in the process of dying when you can allay your doubts and just allow the animal to guide us. Thanks.
Thank you. Wow, that's so amazing, these stories with the bucks. I love it. So it's my turn. And I've been thinking about this for a while over the years, euthanizing of animals or being with them when they were dying and before they died. And sometimes the thing is to be, and what's been, whether that's euthanizing, people feel that euthanize too soon or they let them go too long. It doesn't matter to the animals. All that matters is the love that the person shares with them. So anything based in love is fine. And from what I've learned from the animals, they don't see death the way that most humans do. It's not like this big, terrible thing that people fear. It's just like removing this big old winter coat that you don't need anymore and going on into freedom. So I think that we have a misconception as humans about what it really means to die. And the animals have taught me it's just not a big deal. And where we go when we die is such a beautiful place. There's certainly nothing to fear. And a really important lesson that I've learned from the animals over the years is how important it is for the person to truly let go and not hold on. And I've seen this over and over when the person is hanging on and doesn't want the animal to go no matter what, and they're doing everything possible to save that animal's life. It's not always beneficial for the animal. And in fact, when I've seen people truly let go and just say, okay, to the animal, whenever you need to go, it's fine with me. Sometimes the animal goes right away, sometimes not. And sometimes it's an opportunity for the animal to really heal because they're not being bound by this holding energy. So that's a really important thing that I've learned. One of the animals that was a major teacher for me was when I was early on in the doing animal communication. It was a dog named Yoda, and he truly was a Yoda. And he was an Airedale, an older Airedale, and he had been paralyzed in the hind end for the past year. And his person, Alec, had to carry him everywhere. He had absolutely no social life because his entire life was devoted to this dog for a whole year. But he adored the dog. And he called me in when Alec knew it was really about time for Yoda to go. It was just, he had to move and he didn't feel that Yoda could make the steps in his new place, and it was just time. And so he called me, and I went over and spoke with Yoda. And Yoda was such a wise being. And what he said to me is, my body is weak, but my spirit is strong. And he said, I've been with Alec for all this time as he's cared for me in this way out of true love and compassion. And the lesson that I want to share with him is that Alec wasn't treated all that well when he was young. And by caring for me in this way, I'm teaching him how to care for himself. And I thought that was so beautiful that the animals have these profound lessons for us that they don't always relay in words, but they relay through their actions. And I think it really had an enormous impact on Alec for the rest of his life, that he knew how to take care of himself. So one more thing I'd like to add, because I've been with wild animals quite a bit, and that is what I've learned from the animals directly is we as humans I certainly get upset when I see a predator killing prey, the lion going after the gazelle, or the whatever, killing another animal. And what they've told me is that the spirit goes on, the spirit leaves the body. So they're not always conscious at the very end. It's the body reacting, and they're not suffering as we would perceive they are. So that's what I have to share. And thank you to everyone. This has been a wonderful conversation, and I hope it's been helpful for all of you.